MyMac Podcast 850. WWDC ready.
Hi everyone and welcome to this week's mighty MyMac Podcast with the GMen Guy and Gaz. Everybody, we are about 2 weeks away from WWDC 2021 and expectations are high. As in, anyone making predictions and claiming to have any accuracy is probably on illegal medication. That won't stop the G-Men from making predictions, though, because they're naturally high on life.
That's us.
Hi, Guy. How high are you today?
I am no higher than I usually am.
Well, that's pretty high.
That's not a good thing.
It's never a good thing.
We were talking just before we started. There's so much drama right here in my neighborhood because they're having an event and they're going to have a live band.
An event.
And I'm not sure exactly how everything is going to go, but I have to say, Gaz, there is one thing so far that I'm very disappointed in.
What's that?
They have not yet asked me for any of my audio expertise to help.
They
with
are
the band.
missing such an opportunity of
mayhem.
complete mayhem, and also the whole process taking much longer than they anticipated.
Yeah, not unlike having to wait to get this show started.
Anyway, so is that it, or what?
No. There's actually this is going to be a short week for me this coming up week because I'm going to go to Ohio. Finally, going to get out of town. Although I guess it was just about a month ago I went down to North Carolina. I'm going to Ohio this time.
Ohio.
Oh, what is round on both ends and high in the middle? Oh, high. Oh, get it? Ha, ha. Ah, okay. Anyway, my buddy Dave and his wife Joyce, I haven't seen them in like a year and a half, so I'm looking forward to getting over there to see them. I'm not going to take my Mac with me, but my trusty 2018, not an M1, and no, I'm not getting a new iPad Pro, will be along for the ride.
Cool. Excellent. So, what mic is Guy using today?
Oh, sorry.
Do you want me to actually use that?
No. We use that for way too much stuff already.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, what time is it again? Dun, dun, dun. No, we're not going to do that. The microphone I'm using this week is the Audio Technica.
Oh, well, we should be using this one for what mic is Guy using today?
You talking to me?
or the Price is Right sound. Dun, 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 dun.
Well, we could use.
Stop the presses!
Yeah.
What, that I'm using a new mic? Not a surprise. It's the Audio Technica ATM 510. This is a handheld condenser microphone, and it costs around $180 over there on the Amazons. This, you know what? I have messed this up. It is not the Audio Technica.
Are you fibberooking?
I forgot to change that part of the show notes. It is not the Audio Technica ATM 510. That's what I was using last week.
You naughty man.
More like naughty Nimrod. It is the Rode M2, but that is also a handheld condenser microphone that would have cost around $180 if I hadn't received this as a gift from my son Guy. He got me this for Christmas last year. And I think he was disappointed that I didn't replace my Heil PR40 with this like right away. Just gonna use it right now. But no, I'm using it now, Guy, if you're listening, and I know you don't.
Probably not. So.
Not so much.
Not so much. Cool.
What about you?
That's good. Well, this week, not only, Guy, did I do a 4.6 mile run, I did a relatively short 17-mile bike ride to see some friends at a cafe for a bite of lunch, meeting people.
Without masks.
Without masks.
Are you guys still? I mean, I don't know what your protocol is right now.
If you go to open places and you go inside, then people are still tending to put them on when they go inside. But if they're meeting up outside, they're tending to say, "Fine,"
Yeah, well, we're basically at this stage right now.
There's a little bit of social distancing going on, but
yeah, where if you've had the vaccination, then you don't have to wear a mask. However, you can't ask people if they've had the vaccination.
No. Well, plus also, if you've had the vaccination, you can still be a carrier, of course. So it's not quite that straightforward. Anyway, but I also did a game of rugby.
Oh, did you play or ref?
No, ref.
Okay.
Ref, which is the first time for 14 months. It was on an all-weather pitch, and it was also under floodlights. So, I haven't had time to do very much on MyMac this week, except I got a present, Guy.
What did you get?
Yeah, it came through the post. Well, it came from the Amazons, and it is a Euphora UMC22 audio interface. Interestingly, and for folks listening, you're not going to see what I'm going to do now, but I'm showing Guy my microphone, which is now radio controlled, as he can see, because it's not connected.
And that's the one that you normally use.
That's the one I normally use. It's the only one other than the headset that I've got, Guy. So, do you want to ask me a question?
I do. What microphone is Gaz using this week?
It's an AKG D5.
Where did you get that?
Professional dynamic supercardioid vocal microphone.
Where did you get that?
Well, it's not mine. It's actually my daughter's, because she does a lot of singing, you see. And I said to her, when I got this, I thought I'd do a little surprise for you.
That is a surprise.
And see if I could get it all set up, which we did relatively painlessly. And that's why I had to turn it up, obviously, because when we first started, Guy asked me to turn my volume up a little bit, and he did. Well,
it's got a gain knob right there in the front.
He did ask me, well, that's all. Don't worry, I don't want to push the gain up too much, so I'm peaking, of course, and the volume's all up. It's all up, so obviously. Anyway, we got set up, and I'm borrowing this so I could use a certain system which came through the Amazons from I don't know where. It just appeared at my desk. It was just most peculiar. I had to make my excuses to Mrs. G. She said, "What have you been buying now?"
But you could just point right at the label and go, no.
So I'm going to have to put a link in for Gaz's mic. There you go.
It just gets dun-dun-dun.
No, I'm not doing it. Anyway, so I thought I'd leave that as a bit of a surprise for Guy. So
that is actually, I mean, I don't have an AKG mic. That is actually a really good mic. The D5 is a very, very nice dynamic microphone. Certainly better than one that may or may not be coming to your house in the next week or so.
Well, I can use this while it's not being used, but we'll see. It's putting quite a lot of excess on my desk, which I didn't really want. So it may or may not be used on a regular basis. I still like my trusty old Rode podcaster, so that would probably.
Well, it's so simple because it's just USB.
Yeah.
And that's all you got to worry about.
Anyway, we are now going to go over to Gaz's snippets. So he's so smooth, just so smooth. I just don't know how.
Well, you say that.
There's a lot of work that goes into that smoothness, isn't there? Really, a lot of effort. Apple are discontinuing space gray iMac accessories, available only while stocks last, folks. So get in there quick if you want a space gray iMac accessory.
Those are the ones that they made for like the iMac Pro and stuff. And even though it works exactly the same as every other keyboard and mouse and trackpad that they own, costs more money.
Well, actually, I should have said more about what I'd done recently. I might leave that until next week. I'll leave that until next week.
Okay, well, remember, I won't be here next week.
I know, so I'll have to do it and remember all myself, won't I? Okay, there is a new video that offers a first hands-on look at the white Magic Keyboard for iPad Pro. Now, I don't know why I put that one on there, actually. Oh, I think I wanted to look at it, and I didn't look at it. Ignore that, folks.
It didn't happen.
It didn't happen. Apple refutes the new report claiming it compromised iCloud security to appease Chinese regulators.
Yeah, we talked about this on the Mac to the Future show, and there's some nuances there.
Yes.
Chinese law, and remember, all of these companies, regardless of where they are based, have to follow local laws, or they don't get to do business.
And that's the point.
Right.
What did Google do?
Google left.
I'm saying no more. We'll leave it there because there are lots and lots of nuances, and you could take a whole hour to talk this.
Yeah, we talked about it quite extensively, but
but anyway,
yeah, we'll move on from there.
We'll move on because I think I
topic for another day.
It is a big topic indeed. Phil Schiller has revealed that $50 million is the cost for WWDC App Store Small Business Program. Yeah. Oh no. It's just that it's $50 million as a cost for WWDC. Actually, that's a lot cheaper than I thought it would cost. To be honest with you,
it is probably less this year and last year since it's all virtual. They don't have to have all of the people available.
I didn't dig on that one, so I don't know whether that's an indication of the last year's or what it normally costs to do it. So
right, and also if
my risk for that,
if they actually but they probably get some tax write off if they have it on the Apple campus.
Oh, it's a business expense.
Yeah,
top.
But again, $50 million. While we're all like, wow, that's a lot of money. To Apple, it's like, yeah, that's a Tuesday tea. So
Yeah. Guess what the EU are doing, Guy?
Tell me.
They're watching the Epic Games trial closely because of its own antitrust investigations coming up. There's a surprise. Now, did you know that the new colourful iMacs include a pair of colour matching Apple stickers? So you get a white one and a colour of your Mac one.
I do, and I have to admit something that I'm deeply ashamed of.
What? You've got to admit it now.
I do. Right after I found out about this, I immediately went over to eBay to see if I could find some of these colored stickers.
No.
And there weren't any. There were lots of the rainbow colored ones and all that, but none based on the colors of the new iMac. And I'm not saying I would have bought them if they were available, but I probably would have bought them if they were available.
You are such a sado.
I'm gonna go off screen now.
Thank you. The Apple Music app is repeatedly crashing for CarPlay users running iOS 14.5.1.
Yes.
Yeah. I tell you what else I've had actually on my Apple Watch when I'm going out for a run. And I've also got some cameras outside which give me an indication as to when there is somebody leaving the house or coming to the house. And when I put it on Strava, so I set off Strava, I set my music off. And when I do that, it almost at the same time then tells me, I've just spotted somebody outside and my watch has been crashing and restarting. Now, it's done it fairly quickly. Well, I say fairly quickly, 20 seconds or so, and then no problems at all. But it seems to be really struggling when I've started the music and Strava's already going, or maybe the other way around, and then it gets this notification. All a bit odd at the moment. Now, that's obviously not iOS. That's the watchOS that's causing that problem. But it all goes through the ecosphere, of course.
Yeah, I've had the Apple CarPlay thing crash several times, and to the point where I actually replaced the cable, thinking, oh, maybe this cable's bad, because I mean it just like disappears. But when I read this, it was like, well, the cable's probably fine. It's probably an issue with the iOS and CarPlay.
Yep. So we'll see if they get that fixed, which I'm sure soon. Apple has asked the judge to dismiss Epic's claim that iOS is an essential facility.
Really?
Actually, that's odd. Well, it's
coming from Epic. That's very
I know
odd.
why they're doing it. And to some people, they'll go, "Well, you're not kidding. It's an essential facility." But
if you have an iPhone, maybe. But
yeah, yes, yeah. So we'll see how that goes. Apple Sign Time service will connect Apple Store and Apple support customers with interpreters. So basically, you can get a visual interpreter, I think, as well. So it's not only an interpreter for language, but I think it's also sign language as well. And that's the Sign Time service. That's good. While on the App Store, Fortnite generated apparently over $100 million in revenue for Apple.
So that's two, not one, but two WWDCs.
Yeah. So like pocket change.
Yeah.
You'll soon be able to control an Apple Watch using hand gestures. Now, initially,
damn you! Oh,
yeah. Initially, I thought, how's it going to see my right hand waving at it? And then I went, "Duh, of course, I got to move my hand up and down, and I'll be able to do things."
hand gesture. I got a hand gesture.
Yes, I'm not. I didn't. I know where you were going with your hand gestures, and it did make me smile as well. But we'll move on.
Okay.
Quickly. The Apple Store app on iPad has gotten a redesign.
Yes.
Dun dun dun.
And this and the way it looks a lot like the App Store for the Mac OS. And as I keep saying, this is my latest conspiracy theory. I need
not a conspiracy theory.
I need a theme. I need a theme from my conspiracy theories.
You do, yeah.
That this is one of the many subtle ways that Apple is slowly moving iPad OS and the Mac OS together. And I still think that's going to happen in the next couple of years. It's not there yet, but they're making those moves.
I think we had this discussion a long time ago, and I said to you something about it's probably going to take 5 to 10 years for it to get anywhere close to that. And I
don't think it's going to take that long.
No, I said this. We've been talking about this for years, and I would say it was about 3 or 4 years ago, and I think it's still 5 or 10 years. So probably
15 years.
27. So we're probably talking another 3 or 4 years. So I think your expectation and my expectation are somewhat different, and they'll never merge completely. But
I think the iPad
they won't merge completely because one will just take the other over, and it'll disappear. The other will disappear.
Or they'll just rename it. They'll
rename
both of them together.
And they're not snippets anymore.
Okay,
the Apple releases first betas of iOS 14.7, iPad OS 14.7, TV OS 14.7, Watch OS 7.6, and Mac OS Big Sur 11.5 to developers. Apple's Craig Federighi has said, it's well understood that Android has a malware problem. More in a minute. Yeah. I know.
Really?
The Telegram founder has slammed Apple for totalitarian or totalitarian. I've got another word at the moment.
There needs to be a U in there someplace.
There does. No, there doesn't. I've got another word coming up in a minute, which I was going to completely throw me. Totalitarian control and hardware from the Middle Ages. I mean, we used to have software in the Middle Ages.
Yeah. Do you know what the main thing was? He was talking about the display on the iPhone. He was like, it's only 60 hertz, where some of the high end Android phones have displays with 120 hertz. And it's like, that's your whole justification for totalitarian control.
Totalitarianism. Yeah, I'm expanding the word now. See, I've got it. It's rolling off the tongue now.
He's drunk. He's drunk. I think he was drunk.
Apple TV 4K and Siri remote arrived early for a lucky UK customer. That's headlines. Well, it's not headlines, but there you go. You got it early. Well,
WWDC is coming. They need those 500 words.
Yeah.
Before then.
Remember what I said about Craig Federighi and malware on Android?
Yeah.
Craig Federighi says the Mac has an unacceptable malware problem. Dum dum dum.
Well, it's unacceptable in that because it's still a relatively open platform and people are stupid, they put malware on their Macs.
Well,
The only way to get rid of malware is to completely lock everything down.
Yes,
where
and
the company has complete control over the applications and everything else.
That could be very concerning, that statement.
For the Mac, yes.
Yes, totally. So that I was a bit, when I saw the first statement, I thought, what's he doing saying about that? Of course, yeah, it's defense. Oh, I get it. And now they're saying that, it's got a totally unacceptable malware problem on the Mac. That means they want even more control like they do on iOS. Uh-oh. There could be trouble.
Already
ahead.
is.
We like CCC software, Carbon Copy Cloner, and Bombitch Software has announced Carbon Copy Cloner 6, featuring faster backups, quick updates, snapshot navigator, and more. This guy, yes, he throws it out absolutely hits it out of the park when it comes to his software and any updates to Macs.
Yep,
So
I already have it.
Apple shares, so do I. Apple has shared a new tracked ad with humorous real-world analogy of app tracking transparency. I don't know if you've watched this guy.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Basically, this guy goes into a coffee shop, I think it's a coffee shop, and gets given something which they know he likes, and then they follow him out of the shop, and then a few people tag on and he goes somewhere else, and then they follow him. And then basically by the time he gets home, his house is full of people all watching what he's doing, and he goes onto his bank account and somebody's looking over his shoulder, and then he turns on the not tracking in iOS and they all suddenly pop and disappear.
Really? Oh, I gotta watch that. That sounds great.
Yeah. I'll send you the link. I'll pop it into the show notes so other people, if they haven't seen that, can go and have a look at that as well. Made me smile. Didn't make me laugh, made me smile. Azure services fall over in Europe.
It's a French service, isn't it? Azure.
Azure. Microsoft are working on a fix. Why do I mention this? Apple has said iMessage is currently experiencing issues. Users are reporting errors sending messages. So
I was having errors just getting onto it just a little while ago. So remember, I was telling you. I mean, it was telling me that it was on. It was on no screen that I had going on. I actually had to reply to you through notifications, and it was right. And it was why I restarted the machine, because it was like, I don't know what's going on here, but it's not good.
So the reason I brought Microsoft in there as well is it's not just Apple. Everybody has technical issues. Yeah,
especially and all these cloud services. It's this is inevitable. It's that you're going to have totalitarian issues.
That reminds that a totalitarian.
Totalitarian issues
reminds
with aluminum.
Reminds me of Thanos. Yeah. We won't go there.
Android. There.
Yeah. Apple VP talks Apple TV UK 4K price in a new interview and says there's a tremendous amount of value in this $179. I bet he did.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's see. So it was an Apple executive.
Yes.
It might have meant
VP.
It might have meant just a little bit more if it had been someone other than somebody that works at Apple.
Well, no, if he'd come out and said, you know what, there's no value in $179 at all.
And then he gets the salsa going boot out the door.
Salsa going.
He's still providing fun entertainment years later.
Those betas that I spoke about, they're now public. So this all happened last week, I think. So very quick. They do get them out to developers and then make them public pretty quickly, I think. So.
Well, the weird thing, when they released Mac OS 11.4, the release candidate, it wasn't even 5 minutes later. It was like, oh yeah, and Big Sur 11.5 developer is out too.
Now, Apple's efforts to block the right to repair laws have been highlighted in the new report. There have been a number of reports about the right to repair legislation across the United States, and an equal number of reports about the lengths that Apple has gone to in order to block the new repair bills from becoming law. There's pros and cons here, and I think again that could be another big discussion point, because obviously the longevity I think of Apple products makes it very difficult for them not to go along with it. They really need, because they need full control. However, there are other companies whose lack of longevity in their products you'd need this legislation for.
To me, part of the problem is all of these devices, and I'm not just talking about Apple, but basically any type of computing device, which is basically any piece of electronics these days, have all been miniaturized to the point where it's almost system on a chip. Yep. So how do you set up a repair for something with so few parts that it's basically more cost effective to just replace the whole thing? Okay. So I'm not really sure.
I think you see the problem, what we're going through as well with resources becoming ever more valuable in a world where we're just knocking down trees for the sake of getting a bit more firewood, which in some cases is absolute disgrace when those trees are then been there for hundreds of years and millions of years, and they're not being replaced. That's the problem. But in a world where people are conscious of that, I think Apple's fight is very difficult. But I totally agree with Apple's fight, because they are one company that would go down the avenue, and they need to do more, like every company does. But their products last a lot longer,
which means less waste,
and hold their value because they're lasting longer, because they can be passed on and used and used and used again.
Yep.
There are not many products that do that. So it's a
certainly not in the computing computing world,
and it's a real difficult one for Apple. But Apple has inked a deal for a dystopian series called Wool. I think it's all about sheep. Apple employees have circulated an internal letter calling on the company to support the Palestinians.
Stay out of politics.
Yeah, that I thought that was quite heavy, actually, for them to be doing that. Now, I'm not saying I agree or disagree with it, but stay out of politics.
I disagree. And not because it's Palestinians. I just disagree with large corporations making political statements. People should make political statements. Governments should make political statements.
Yeah, and if there is that number of staff that have that feeling, I'm sure they could, get together to make that statement
and do it outside of the company.
Absolutely. Apple is expanding air quality weather app features to more countries with iOS 14.7, and so they should. Good grief! I mean, what they be faffing about at? Just get on with it.
What was that word?
What word?
Fecking.
Faffing.
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 Okay, see, that is actually much better than the word I just said. So
it is. You're going to have to bleep yourself.
I am.
Faffing, sir. I didn't say
faffing.
The other word.
You didn't say that other thing, right?
No. New Apple TV adds ARC support for universal TV audio pass-through to HomePod speakers. Now, that is really quite interesting and makes me think, do I buy the new control, or do I not waste that $60 or whatever it is and put the money into the Apple TV so I've got ARC pass-through? Because I struggle with it on my current TV, to be perfectly honest with you.
I am really tempted. Because the one we have upstairs, I basically have a 4K downstairs, and then I have the one just before the 4K upstairs. They both allow for apps, so that's not a problem.
HD, I think it was Apple HD, wasn't it? Yeah.
But whoops, there we go.
Whoops.
But the fact that they're actually, and I mean, I've been saying all along that I thought that Apple wasn't even going to update the Apple TV. I just didn't see the point.
No, that's right.
But now with some of the stuff that I'm seeing coming out for it, it's like, I'm kind of tempted to get a new Apple TV myself, which, kind of a contradiction.
Well, I'll have to revisit that statement. I'll have to revisit that statement from the VP just to understand exactly how much value there is in that $179.
Yep.
Apple has launched an affiliate program for podcast subscriptions. Yes, but they've had a few complaints about the speed of downloads and the speed of not downloads so much, more the updating of the apps. I know that Tim and David were talking about that, and a few others talking about the fact that it's been taking up to days for their iPad, their podcasts or people's podcasts to appear in the Apple stream, which is now I don't use the Apple
or even when it's there in the stream, it won't download.
Yeah, we've had a tweet this week though with a bit of a problem with ours from James, who's finding the struggle. So I don't know whether that was generic or not. Anyway, these are Kaz's snippets, so I'll move on. Apple suggests that Microsoft could be behind the Epic Games lawsuit.
Yeah.
Conspiracy number 28.
Dun dun dun.
A UK streaming service, Now TV, is currently incompatible with a new TV 4K. Well, Sky, pull your bloody finger out. That's all I can say. Apple is a pawn in the China's malfeasance.
Yeah, close enough.
Say 4 members of Congress.
Yeah, because they're so smart.
Yeah. This kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier with Apple and China. Do they pull out? They are looking to get development and manufacturing elsewhere, but it's not going to be quick. But, you know.
Does it say who the 4 members of Congress are?
If it did,
I'm just curious.
I'd have to go to the article itself to find out. No, I can't.
Okay.
I'm going to be dithering about too much to find out. An open letter to Tim Cook, tweeted by Republican Ken Buck. So I don't know whether he had anything inside, Mr. Cook. No, I can't see.
See. I go back to my original statement.
Ken Buck, Scott Fitzgerald, Burgess Owens, and Dan Bishop.
Oh, I'm sure that those guys are really up on tech.
YouTube, Sky, are you listening? YouTube enables 4K video playback at 60 frames per second on the new TV 4K. Now, they've gone out and done something, Sky. Why couldn't you, on one of your products, which you need people to be able to interact with as soon as possible? I hate Sky. Personally, I
never would have guessed it. Now, if they would only merge with Volkswagen, they would be perfect.
Gaz's most hated company.
All in one big conglomerate.
Skywagon. Yeah. Sold by Amazon. You can find it on Google.
Supported by Google.
Snap is happy to pay Apple's 30% commission rate, says Evan Spiegel. Even.
Yeah, him too.
See,
both of them.
They don't mind. Hands-on with Apple's new orange M1 iMac.
Yeah.
Emphasis on the orange, guy.
Yeah, because if it's blue or green,
it could be completely
purple,
different.
Totally different computer.
Totally different. So I want to see hands-on with all the different color iMacs because there's definitely a difference in there.
And it should last for hours.
Wow. Apparently the HomePod is to gain support for Apple Music lossless audio in future software update because there's been a bit of complaining that it currently can't do the new Apple lossless service. But apparently it will gain it in the future.
Honestly, it's just a matter of adding the codec.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. They've got to do it at some point. It'll be a firmware update, I would say, rather than a software update. Do we think? Don't know. Now, apparently, this came up last thing just before I was coming online. The Apple VP doesn't say which Apple VP. Let's have a look. Does it say Apple VP? Let me just go onto the site because I did do this last week. Tim. Oh, I wish I hadn't looked now. Tim Twerdal. Tim Twerdal.
We'll just call him Twerdy.
No,
Tim Twerdy.
Well, yeah. He said that the new Siri remote was inspired by the iPod click wheel. Well, good, because don't snort. Don't snort. I thought actually that the Apple click wheel was a good, on the G5, the version 5.
Yeah.
I love that iPod.
The video one.
Yeah, I love
the first
that
video one.
because it had a click wheel and you could circle around it. I really like that one. So
well, it's certainly made going through menus snappy, but part of the reason why it needed it was that there were just so many menus.
Yes.
Whereas the Apple TV with its little icons for all these different apps doesn't or shouldn't have to go that deep into the rabbit hole for menus.
And Guy, that is the end of Gaz's snippets. Can I just say that I've altered my statement?
Is this the Gaz's rant?
This is the Gaz's rant. So now I've changed it. But I'm just letting everybody know. All right. So this is the new version. I think that the person/company/governing body is putting at risk my ability to be able to choose a secure and reliable environment that I've chosen. So, person, company, or governing body of choice, if you want to play that silly game, along with, I'm sure, a lot of other people, will continue to call you nasty, horrible people for putting my security at jeopardy. That's the statement I'm going to be using.
Okay. Can I just think that they're horrible people for like all kinds of reasons?
You can, yes.
I just can't narrow it down that much, Gaz. I'm sorry.
Okay. And I've got no Gaz's link this week. So well, I've put the G5 in there and a D5 rather.
Oh, that's
D5.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Gaz's microphone.
Gaz's microphone. So that's it from me, Guy. Take us out.
Oh, okay. I was waiting to see if you were going to do the.
I've already done that. I've already done that a minute ago.
I know. It's the OCD. It's like so strong. Everyone, please stand by for Gaz and Guy's totally legit and real WWDC predictions coming right up.
Right up.
And welcome everyone to the angst-filled second part of the MyMac.com podcast. It's total angst. Complete and total angst. Hey, Gaz.
Hi. Yes, it is. Complete and utter.
Because
so what
so
is
much
this?
Stuff.
With so much stuff. So come on, predictions. We do predictions occasionally. They're not rumors, they're predictions.
Well, it's kind of both,
aren't they? Well,
yeah.
Okay.
And these are totally legit and completely real in our minds.
In our minds,
in our minds. So in about 2 weeks, Gaz, we've got WWDC 2021 coming up, which again will be virtual, just like it was last year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about 2 weeks away, and it will be a virtually only event. So what is going to happen? And before we get into this list of things that I've got here, do you have any, I don't even want to say predictions, but what you think they might release as far as hardware goes?
Hardware?
Because they don't usually release much.
No, I think there will be an expectation that there will be some high-end new silicon Macs, specifically iMacs coming out, but I think that won't happen yet. I don't think it'll happen here.
No, I agree. I don't think they're ready to come out with the...
I've got a feeling that there's going to be very little, actually. I'm looking a bit dark here. Let me turn up my lights.
It's okay. I'm like completely yellow on my side of the screen. I didn't have time to adjust white balance and all that. I'll have to do that some other time. I don't think that they have the new processors ready yet. And
no, so when it comes to new stuff coming out, I don't think there will be a great deal of hardware coming out, if I'm honest.
And when I say not ready, I don't mean in that the products. I think the products are ready. I think that whatever the next size up Mac Pro laptop is ready to go. I think that the bigger iMac is ready to go with all new chips and all the rest of that. I think right now the problem is they can't get those chips in bulk, and that they don't want to announce something that they say, well, this is going to come out if you wait for the next 2 months until
what I do
supply
think,
chain
though, Guy,
catches up.
What I do think is that there might be some big software announcements.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we're going to talk about. But first, let's talk about what we pretty much know is going to happen. So, as we said, it is going to be a virtual only event, and I'm beginning to wonder if this is going to be the new norm for Apple as far as these kinds of events go, or do you think that they'll do some kind of hybrid between in-event and live streaming?
I think most companies now are going to be going down some sort of hybrid
because it's just cheaper too.
Well, not only is it cheaper, you've got a wider reach, and equally,
and it's easier to control the message too.
It's easier to control the message. It's a better message from an environmental perspective, and I think that things are now in place, and it is almost the norm to be able to do stuff online. So I think it'll have as much emphasis on the virtual stuff going forward, with perhaps, whereas a few years ago you might have expected a 90-10 split, there's still a bit of virtual going on. We've got recordings you can pick up later. I think it'll almost be an 80-20 the other way. So 80% is virtually available to everybody, and you can attend, and there'll be a much smaller available
in-person crowd.
And I think that will be less from developers possibly, although developers, they like, it's like everything. The water cooler chats are really useful, and I think a lot of developers do like being able to interact with other developers and getting the vibe that Apple produces. So I think initially it'll be more like a 70-80 split, 70 to 80 to 30-20, if you understand where I'm coming from. But over a few years, it might go back to the fact that they're trying to get people on board on site. But from an environmental perspective, it's a much easier message to hand out to do it virtually.
Yep. Okay. All of the major OSs that Apple has will be talked about, and some of the new features will be shown off, and this will include iOS 15, iPadOS 15, macOS 12, which I believe that they have now officially said is going to be the new nomenclature for the macOS. You're just going to go full points up now. tvOS 15 and watchOS 8. One of the things that made me kind of happy is there's a lot of talk about additional accessibility options. So background sounds for people that find the normal hubbubaloo of the outside world to be a distraction. So you add some like background sounds to kind of drown that out. Assistive touch eye tracking for, say, if you're paraplegic and you can't actually touch the screen in front of you, having eye tracking on a standard device like this would be a godsend for people like that. Also, audio improvements for the hard of hearing or those with hearing aids. And also sound actions along with per application text sizes. So because here's the thing, there's a lot of applications out there, especially on the mobile side, that has boxes and text and all kinds of things for you to denote what it is that you want that program to do. Well, this will allow not just the developer, but the user to select what size text is going to be on the screen so that they can do whatever it is that they want to do with those applications.
At the moment, you can only do it system wide, can't you?
Yeah, it's pretty much just system wide. So you make a change like that, then it's like that for everything. Yeah. For iOS 15, there's supposed to be some changes for notifications, with some saying that there's I've got here meds for weaker sleep states, which kind of makes me go,
No.
Actually, I think that's supposed to read with designations for wake or sleep states. So if you're getting ready to go to bed, you pull up your phone, you go to Control Center, and you hit a button, and it changes it from a wake sleep to a sleep state.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people will be interested in that kind of granular control when they're awake or asleep. I think that's got a much bigger emphasis on what most people are willing to do.
What I think you've got to look at is a lot of this stuff will also be interacting, I think, with HomeKit as well. Because home automation and a lot of this stuff interacts with home automation. So if you get one thing, there's very often a knock-on effect of having something which we would say, well, I don't need that. But you may need that if you're interacting with something else and interlinking with something else.
So sort of a if this then that thing.
Yeah.
So you say, hey, S lady, sleep state.
Well, you don't say anything. You don't say anything. A lot more automation in understanding those states and when those states should appear as well.
So you turn off your bedroom lights and it would automatically kick that off.
Yeah, it basically hits you over the head with a hammer for you to go to sleep.
Have Siri tell you a joke just before you tell me a story. Tell me a story.
I see you've turned the bedroom light off. Do you want to go to sleep?
No, I want to go to sleep.
No, I was going to have. You want romantic music.
Whoa, whoa. Bow, chicka, bow, wow. Okay,
that's probably going too far. Yeah.
Probably. iPad OS 15, new home screen and more widgets, which doesn't really sound that exciting. I'd like to see improvements to multi-app usage. So, because right now, if you can have up to, I think, 2 different apps, it just splits the screen between them, and it doesn't really work that well.
Well, you can have two different apps and a floater, can't you?
Yeah. Well, it's complicated.
It's not good. It's not good.
It's not that great.
But again, that only really works with the bigger iPads, though, doesn't it, Guy? It's no good having this sort of capability.
I use it on my watch. No, I don't.
And you know how well that works, or at least I do. Yeah.
I would also like to see logins for multiple users. I think that's been on a lot of people's wish list. And to have, when I say this,
I've said that for years, actually.
Yeah. And to have top of window menus, if developers wish to add them for individual apps,
right,
for better UI controls for the more complicated applications. And I actually have, and I don't remember what it's called now off the top of my head. It's like a photo manipulation graphics program that actually has top of the window menu, drop down menus and all the rest of that for some of the stuff that it does. And it just kind of makes it look like a Mac OS or a Windows app. And I'm perfectly okay with that, especially whether it's touch enabled or whether it's going to go through that weird little circular mouse pointer that they have on screen. They need to change that.
Yeah,
it needs to become like a pointer instead of that, and that be like native. And it's looking like, and this should not be a big surprise. We were kind of talking about this earlier in Gaz's snippets. The iPhone 6, which came out 6 years ago,
6, I think.
6 years ago, will likely be dropped for compatibility this year, which shouldn't be a huge surprise. And the fact that you've been able to do practically everything up to this point with an iPhone 6 that you may have purchased used or that you got brand new all those years ago, this is a testament to how long Apple products operate.
Absolutely.
And if you still like your if you still like your it's annoying.
Being attacked by a fly.
I am being attacked by a fly. I don't even know how he got in here. I got all the windows and doors closed. What was I saying? I just lost.
I don't want to say anything about your cleanliness, but
I just took a shower last week.
Okay, apparently.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
go on.
Well, I mean, it's a testament to how long Apple's products
absolutely
work and last. And if you don't, if you want to keep using the iPhone 6, fine, you can. Just don't try to update it to the latest version of iOS. It'll keep working. It'll keep working just fine.
And there'll be updates for it.
Yeah, at least security updates.
This is what we're guessing, not what we know.
Right. I have not been able to find much in relations to Mac OS 12. I'm kind of hoping, Gaz, and it's going to be kind of a snow leopard release where they work more on getting existing features to work properly rather than trying to throw out more new, whiz bang, gee whiz, golly gollikers kind of stuff that, to dazzle people. And it's like, just make stuff work that you've talked about for the last couple of releases of this operating system. Just make it work. I think that's what, and I think it's not just Apple, but it's Google and it's Microsoft and it's all these companies that control these operating systems. I think that they're having more and more trouble finding new features to wow people because there's not really too much out there. They talk about 3D, God, or some of the other things that not just Apple, but some of these other companies have either talked about or released, and then they die a quiet death a year or so later because everybody was like, why would I do that? What was the point of that?
Yeah, we're waiting really for the next big innovation to drive things forward, aren't we? Because we've got the hardware to pretty much do
whatever we want.
So now it's just about for pro people, it's about speed of those applications and being able to process much quicker. Well, that's fine. So we're now at a point where that's getting to a point where they'd be quite happy. So now it's okay. What more can this little box do for me? And that's where we're waiting for the next big innovation.
Well, the other thing is, I think Apple needs to concern themselves more with having native code for the M series processors and to try to start weaning applications off of Intel code because they're never going to. I don't think Apple is ever going to release another Intel based computer.
No,
they're just not going to do it.
Agreed.
So it's time to start telling developers this is the future. This is where we're going. You need to get on board.
And there's going to be a lot of that at this WWDC as well.
Yes.
Cool.
And let's see, Watch OS, likely improvements, big surprise to the health and fitness tracking with maybe some better integration with the Mac OS and tvOS.
What do you think about the OS on the watches? A little bit like the iPhone 6.
I'm like, I don't get that. What?
Compatibility of the software for the watches.
Oh, you think how far back this will go for the watches? I'm guessing at least to the fourth gen.
Okay.
Because there's been some major changes, not so much to the OS, but to the hardware.
Yeah. And
with some of the stuff that Apple is putting in regards to fitness tracking and heartbeat arrhythmia type of notifications, and you are dead. Thanks for letting me know.
That actor would like that.
Yeah. So these are things that the 3rd series and down just can't do. So, trying to push people into getting.
So back to about the 4th.
Yeah, 4th watch or 4th gen. 4th gen. I'm going to move on now. The other thing I would like to see is some more home automation links so that you can control, and you kind of can right now with Siri, but I would like to see tighter controls along those lines with home automation.
Cool.
Because the screen isn't big, but there are ways so that you could make it do that. For tvOS 15, there are rumors, guys, of a new user interface. And I mean, because basically the Apple TV has pretty much had the same interface since its adoption, since it came out all those number of years ago.
Yeah.
So I would like to see the UI gurus at Apple take a crack at it and make something that's going to be better, because it's basically the same thing everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
And so I'd like to see something different along those lines. That's all I got for this.
Well, I agree with that last point.
So you must be doing. Wow, there's lots of head nodding going on there.
Gaz's tips, most important. Gaz's tips, most important. Gaz's tips. It's time for Gaz's tip.
Penny lawn stocking.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay, so I bet you've all tried the hot corners capability of your Macs. You'll find it in System Settings, Desktop and Screensavers. Then on the Screensavers tab at the bottom, you'll see hot corners. Now, as I said, I bet a lot of you have tried them, but found that they get activated far too easily by moving your mouse or cursor into one of the corners of your Mac. Well, how about if you hold the Command key and move your cursor to one of the corners to activate the action? That way you won't accidentally start the hot corner action. So what you do is you go to the hot corners option, as I said before, in Desktop and Screensavers in System Settings, then to the Screensavers tab and at the bottom. And then before choosing which hot corner option you want, you press the Command key and then that option, and then hey, voila. When you move your cursor into the corner, you need to press the Command key for that action then to be implemented. And Guy's trying it now. I can see him doing it
frantically
as I try and fill this.
Hit it. That's the end of Gaz's tips. That's the end of Gaz's tips. That's the end of Gaz's tips.
Is that the end of the tip?
Will you let me finish?
Gaz, you are absolutely right.
You are.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm trying to do is get your link in there for your microphone.
Yeah, I'll pop it in.
There it is, sort of.
Oh, you've done it.
It's done something very, very odd.
I'll do
to our show notes.
You concentrate on your bit.
Okay. I have a sort of a pick this week, Gaz. And for pick's sake, if you have Disney Plus, check out Star Wars Rebels. This takes place after the events of the Clone Wars and before A New Hope. You can find that over in disneyplus.com. And I don't have it here, but there's a show on Hulu called Resident Alien. I don't know if you've heard about this show.
I've heard of it.
It's got the guy that was the pilot in Firefly as the lead. And he's basically an alien that has been sent to the Earth to destroy it. Yeah. But his ship crashes and he ends up taking over the life of this guy that's in a remote cabin who's a doctor and ends up becoming the town's doctor in this remote Colorado community and trying to interact with all these humans when he has no idea how to act like a human. So the lead in it is an alien acting like a human while he's an actor acting like an alien acting like a human. So it definitely has its moments. And there's, without giving away too many spoilers, the mayor's son sees him for exactly what he actually is, which has led to some interesting consequences, because every time the kid sees him, he starts screaming about aliens. Anyway, I've been enjoying that show. It's over on Hulu, Resident Alien. What do you got, Gaz? Anything this week?
No. I've got no mighty pick or
stuff.
Anti-pick.
Okay, we have no audio things this week. Haven't gotten anything on Twitter or email that I'm aware of. But if you would like to do any of those things, or actually, no, I'm going to revert back because what I was actually trying to say was, if you'd like to help support the craziness that is this show, download it. We appreciate the fact that you download it. But you can also go to Patreon, patreon.com/MacParrot. You can go to Coffee, ko-fi/MacParrot, or PayPal at paypal.me/MacParrot. Now, Gaz, if people wanted to contact you and say, holy crap, will Guy stop talking about stupid TV shows that nobody likes? How would they do that?
Send an email to Gaz, G-A-Z,
Cars.
at mymac.com, or on the Twitters, twitter.com/Gazmaz, G-A-Z,
Cars.
M-A-Z.
Cars.
Or on the Twitters, you can also contact Guy and myself, which is Guy and Gaz, twitter.com/Guy and Gaz, G-U-Y,
Wait.
A-N-D, G-A-Z.
Cars.
You can also send an email to feedback, FWDBACK, at mymac.com.
Okay.
Are you keeping up with
I'm trying to.
I say it really, really quickly. And anyway, now, if you'd like to send an email to Guy, how would they do it, Guy?
Wow. I'm stunned. Well, yeah, it's so easy. All you'd have to do is send that to
No fooling.
Guy.
I knew
Guy
it
at
completely.
mymac.com.
Yeah, because
It was like,
yeah.
yeah. What is he doing now? We don't know. You can also contact me on the Twitters. I have two, not one, but two Twitter names. I am Mac Parrot. Ooh, look at that. Blur and Boca, which you won't see unless you watch the video, and I'm 3 weeks behind on getting these up.
So you're not likely to.
Yeah, it's not likely to. That is Mac Parrot and Vert Shark over there.
Oh.
There we go. On the Twitters.
The problem is I've got so many jaws here, but they're all long, of course, which we can't use. So I have to find the short one.
We get in trouble. We get in so much trouble. If you would like to call us, please call us. And we're not going to put out the call to the flat earthers and the other conspiracy theorists because apparently they're afraid we're going to tell on them. So they didn't call. They can still call, but it's just sad. It's just sad that you haven't called. You have no conviction in your beliefs. That's all I'm going to tell you. So if you would like to call us on the telephone about anything other than those things, that would be 1 or +1 703-436-9501 over there on Skype. That number again is 1 or +1 Gaz 703-436-9501. Or just get rid of the 1 or +1. Go right to the Skype application, right to it, and just dial 703-436-9501. So easy to do.
It is.
And I would like to say to everyone who listens to this show, thank you.
You know what you're going to say is,
you remember Guy?
Oh yeah. No, you would say that.
Yeah,
you would say that.
That's right. Well, so I'd also say
He's the guy.
Yeah.
Oh, you're killing me. Ants on the brain. That's the problem I had last week. Ants on the brain.
Yeah.
We thank you. We thank all of you for downloading and listening to this program. We work very, very hard. I know it doesn't always seem like it, but we really, really do work very, very hard to get this show out to you each and every week. And we appreciate the fact that you take that time. And Gaz, I would like to say that I think we're good enough. Yes. I also think that we're smart enough.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Oh my God, yes. And that Wilf Gonnet, Wilf. Love that little dog. What a cute little dog he is.
I'll have to get a bark from him for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Does he bark much?
Not often, actually, no.
So you'd have to force him to bark.
Which will be and that won't sound right, will it?
No, it'll be like, yeah,
bark you damn dog.
And he's just looking up. Oh God. Anyway, unless we torture Wilf, people like us,
which I won't do.
Which we won't do.
Because
he's a cute little pup.
Because if I torture him, people won't like me.
No.
Parler d'une économique de récréation, de contigu. This is northern, by the way. En uj es com finger. Q tots els acteurs tenen èxit la enscari. I la pantalla no hoson.
Well said.
Why is dark, Guy, spelt with a K and not a C?
I don't know.
It's because you can't see in the dark, Guy.
Oh,
End.
fade to black.
Very good.
So you can all go home and there's nothing to worry about. Get out of here now. Go on. Go on home and go home.